Hello,
Hi.
and welcome back
Yeah.
to the Zero Strategy Podcast. This is episode 15?
Yes.
Yeah.
15. Look at us go. Thank you for being here if you're watching live. We got a lot to talk about today. First of all, I just want to say as well, as we go through the show, obviously we have topics we want to discuss, but if you do happen to be watching live on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Zero Strategy Podcast, we love to answer questions from people in the live chat when we can. So if you have any questions for us and you are watching live right now, make sure to @ one of us or @ Zero Strategy Podcast so we can see it highlighted, and we will try and get around to it. If we miss your question and enough time has passed, feel free to ask it again, just because we might not get to everything quickly. I will try and bump the volume up if that's an issue, but we'll go for it. So as always, we start with a brief catch up with everybody to see what's been going on. So Cyber, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Nothing really. Released my first YouTube video, which I'm quite happy about. I need to get my finger out and do the rest of the stuff that I've got planned. I've got like a list like yay big, and I've done one of them, so I'm on my way. And apart from that, streaming Valorant, and I watched the Destiny 2 event, which took a lot longer than expected, but it was good once it actually happened. Very excited to see what actually happens with that game in the next couple of months.
Yeah, it was a good start. What I enjoyed yesterday, just a little side note, when you joined our fire team, came to turn, we had a quick hug before we hired on.
There was one point, I don't know if you knew it was me, so I might want to keep my mouth shut, but I did knock you off the edge. I don't know if you knew that was me.
I knew it was somebody. I didn't know it was you, but there you go. There you go. Right, Grog, how has your week been? What have you been up to?
It's pretty good. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary streaming on Twitch. So that was exciting on June 2nd. And played just more Warzone. I did a really fun game with my wife yesterday. We're pretty committed now, I think, the two of us, to stream together every other Saturday, depending on how it continues to go. And if it continues to be successful, I think we might maybe even make it every Saturday, if that's a thing that we can do. Yeah. Oh, so you were there? Cool. Yeah, we played Moving Out, which was like think Overcooked meets, like, there's the totally reliable delivery service that we played, which is like physics based, like pick up an item and move it to a X location, but like do it in the most complicated like way possible. It's like both of those things merged together. It's very cute. The art was amazing. We had a really good time. Also, I would say it was a little more stress inducing than Overcooked. I don't know why. I think because Overcooked has a menu for what you're supposed to make, and you have a timer in which to make those specific things. This is just like, you have 10 minutes to try and fill this moving van full of stuff. Don't break shit. And you're just like, so it's not telling you like you got to do this thing first. So at one point we filled up the entire moving van with like small objects, and there was no room for a couch, and we just like yeeted it off a balcony. It was it's good times.
Awesome. Yeah, I need to go back and watch the VOD of that. I'm looking forward to checking it out. Kibbles, what have you been up to?
Warzone again, except yesterday I played the Walking Dead Telltale series. So
I
that was
saw
pretty
that.
fun. Nice
Yeah.
change
That was
of
really
pace.
fun.
It's so good.
Forgot how much I loved that game. I think I only played the first season, so I'm excited to get into stuff I haven't played.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Season 2 I thought was
Heard you
great.
cried.
I cried at season 1, dude. I'm not afraid to admit that. I cried like a baby. But no, it's totally worth. Like, I played all 4. I think the last season was really, really good as well. So, yeah, hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. And just been working on videos. Other than that, working on a video for this channel, and then one with on my channel with Grog, and it's shaping up to be like a 40-minute thing. I was gonna split it into 2 videos, but while I was going through, I was like, it's gonna look real dumb if I do that. This is gonna be a long video. That's fine.
Awesome. Can't wait for it. Yeah, we also do videos on our group channel chat. The link is in the live chat right now. You should go and check that out as well. And then we've got our guest for this week, Mr. Pijinnn here. He has been on before if you've watched the show previously, but we want to bring him back. So yeah, what have you been up to the last week? Give us the well, say the last week.
Yeah.
The last few weeks.
Obviously, thanks for having me back on again. Last time was amazing. To be honest, you'll see I've got a new setup since last time, or a different angle at least.
I like your
because of the new
angle.
setup. It's a good angle. It's a good angle. Well, I've been with you guys those weeks. We've been hitting loads of Valorant since it launched. I don't know what it is. It's pure addictive for me right now. So I'm just gonna kind of play as much as possible and get as many stacks as possible. Discovered Condifly has roped me into the world of TikTok as well. So
Don't blame me for that one.
I'm starting. I think it was your fault, but I'm starting to dabble with TikTok as well this week, and it's stupidly addictive. Outside the streams, that is.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, thank you very much for coming back on. Kind of leads us into the first topic that we had for today, which is part of the reason that we wanted to bring Pidge back on, because he had a bit of an incident that happened, and may I say you've recovered from it very well. So congrats on that. GG's on that. But yeah, give us the rundown. Tell us what happened. Yeah, just tell us the story, man.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, it was like 2 weeks ago. It was on a Friday night. I have a community night every Friday night on my channel, and we're just about to kick it off. And my channel got hit with a massive viewbot attack. It's happened to my channel before. Those who don't know what viewbotting is, or in this case it's follow botting, it's directed bot accounts on Twitch being sent to channels to do the basic feature of following the channel and or typing in chat. Inflates your numbers kind of artificially, but in the case of, well, most people, you have stream alerts set up for your follow notifications, so it leads to your notifications going into haywire. It happened with before. I had about 50 followers from the event, but this time it was between 800 and 1200 followers hit the account on the Friday night, so it caused huge disruption to the channel. I thought I was prepared for it because it happened before. I was like, oh, this has happened before, but we'll just stare it down. Hell no, 1200 followers is not fun to try and face down. So it caused me to stop streaming. So whoever in this case, I believe, maliciously attacked the channel, they won because I just couldn't face it down. 1200 followers, everything's going nuts. So I'm like, I need to go take the stream offline. So there's a powerful tool on Twitch called Commander Root. Commander Root lets you view all your followers and people you follow linked to your Twitch account. It also lets you moderate them by removing them or banning them as well. So bot accounts tend to be created within a certain window. Say in this case, I found that the bots were created between start of January this year and the end of February this year. So I quickly tried to filter out all these bots, ban them as well, so they couldn't refollow or cause any disruption. But I wasn't used to using the tool. I ended up filtering it completely wrong and banishing all of my Twitch followers, all the people that had followed the channel since the Twitch channel had been made, all because of that attack and me kind of in a panic, try to filter them out and go, oh, we'll be fine. So obviously at the time, the Twitch community, Twitter community, guys that know me for the Destiny community, everybody stepped up and we managed to like reclaim a good strong following of organic followers again and people who had already been following at the time. But it was a nightmare.
So rough,
honestly,
dude.
I'll take this chance to like thank my mods who stepped up into the Discord, came and helped us out, got all the notifications called, and then we started to get things rolling. We went live about an hour and a half later, but the whole event was just like a turning point, like in what was happening in the channel at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine, like, that's obviously a very scary thing to happen, and like you say, the sort of in the panic, I totally get how easy it would have been to do. Yeah, obviously huge. You know, I kind of woke up the next morning and saw that this had all sort of blown up on Twitter and a lot of support, which is obviously very, very nice to see. At least that there was a big rallying from the community and kind of got you very close back to where you were almost overnight. You know.
Yeah.
Which is super nice to see, and obviously it's a horrible situation that should have never happened in the first place, but at least there was that, you know, really genuinely really good recovery. You know, because that I know if that had been me, like, just devastating, you know, really hard to see.
Devastating, man.
I have a little bit of experience. I had a similar thing with follow bots. They hit me for not as much. I think I got hit for about 150 just in the space of an instant, you know. So I've got like my Streamlabs window open to track everything happening, and I just looked over and it just started flying with follows, and all the bots were just a series of numbers, every single one. That just hit the account, and I did the same thing. I had to turn off alerts. So immediately I went into Discord, and people were saying use this commander root thing. But for some reason, every time I tried to block somebody, it just said like, no, the API won't let you do this, because I think they were having issues with Twitch at the time. So I still have them sitting on my account, which is really, really frustrating. I sent a ticket into Twitch, but especially after hearing what happened to you, I'm kind of terrified to go and try and remove them myself, you know? But yeah, so absolutely kind of terrible situation. You said it happened to you before as well?
It did, yeah. So before we had the PC streams, it happened to me once. The last time it happened, it was actually a combo of follower bots and then view bots and chat bots. So at the time I'm sitting there and I'm looking, I've got my stream up and open, and I can see 100 plus viewers. I'm like, that's not right. And then I noticed it, and I started checking it. And this is where it creeps me out, because this is where that sort of unknown face kicks in. But whoever it was that was doing it to me caught on that I was sitting there going, something's not right. And they started typing in chat, and all these bots just went nuts. And it's like, it's randomly generated stuff, like going, poggers, yay, oh, nice play, oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
And it just steamrolls for there. And then right at the end of it, and I've got a clip of it somewhere, but if all of the bots at the exact same time went, nice beard, or something like that, and I was just like, the fuck is going on here? And then after that,
excellent choice of underwear today.
Yeah, that's a bold strategy.
Lovely.
Programming the bots to
Total
say
big-
nice
it was a
beard. Like, you're gonna get a
proper
lot
big-
of streamers with that one.
It was totally, so it was a Big Brother moment. And then after that, they all started spamming, why are you view botting? And I was just like, nope. And I took the channel down. I was like, I was shook. Like, honestly, it really disrupts you.
Yeah.
Throws your concentration. Looking at like the Twitch guidelines for it, Twitch tell you not to acknowledge it, not to recognize it, and just keep doing you. But when you've got an influx of all that going on, it's really hard to just, oh, this isn't happening right now. Even more so if your viewers are getting spaced out by the chat filling up or notifications going off and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tell you to submit a ticket. I done a ticket that time, and they just told me just carry on as normal. Don't sweat it. Funnily enough, I done a ticket again, obviously, for that event on that Friday. Unfortunately, Twitch fell short. They didn't actually get back to me on it.
Yeah, they didn't
so
get
I'm not
back to
really
me.
Sure.
They didn't get back to me either.
Yeah, I sent the ticket, and then I got the feedback email like 2 weeks later, and I was just like, my feedback is, tell me what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think of the ticket thing, particularly with, like, in my case, because it wasn't a huge amount. It was, you know, again, like 100 to 150. I thought of it more as, well, at least this way I'm covered, so that they can't accuse me of doing it to myself, because I've immediately raised that ticket to say, you know, I did this. Because I think this is the problem, right? Is that a lot of us that have been around Twitch for a long time know how to sort of recognize if somebody is viewbotting, right? You know, a lot of us have, I would bet all of us at some point have clicked on a channel and went, this looks a little bit, I mean, there is circumstances, you might have got a big raid, there's a lot of people lurking, there's circumstances, but a lot of the time it is fairly easy to spot if somebody is consistently viewbotting with, like, maybe no interaction in chat, or, you know, a very low view count compared to, you know, what there's actually live viewer count, you know? You know, a channel with 20 followers that has 1,000 viewers, something's not right there.
absolutely.
But the thing to remember is that it isn't necessarily always that person doing it. I've heard of people that are maliciously viewbotting the same channel over and over and over again every day. And it creates a bad impression for people that know what to look for. They come in and go, well, this person's trying to cheat the system, right? Yeah. And I think the reason that you mentioned, like, obviously Twitch's policy is kind of just don't acknowledge it, carry on. As far as I know, Twitch has a very hard time telling if you are doing it to yourself or someone else is doing it to you, which makes it difficult when it comes to that thing, you know, to identify this person's viewbotting or is somebody botting them. And I think some people think maybe they're helping by sending a few bots over just to bump that number. Obviously, in some cases, it is malicious. And yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that you can do when it starts happening. But I mean, I think you handled it well.
So yeah, well, when you say that, Cyber, someone, Gingerhan in chat asked why or who someone would be doing that, if it's a personal attack. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, as someone who's grown my channel, it could be competition, it could be, or it could just be completely random. They've just hit a channel that's got, like, as far as I know, on the night, there was a chance that someone who was already watching my channel had someone who'd found them and saw that they were watching my channel, and they decided to filter their bot attack through it, because a few other my friends in the Discord at the time, they pushed live on their Twitch. They don't even stream. They pushed live and their view count went skyrocketing. So there might have been some sort of like interlinked thing going on as well. So it was really disruptive. And yeah, like I said, like you said there, Condi, about cheating the system. Like when I look back in my stats for the month, they're completely distorted. Like they're unrealistic. So I can't look back and say, did I have a good month on Twitch? Well, I got 1,500 followers on Twitch. I must have done an amazing job, but it was all bots, all artificial.
Well, and it's also probably frustrating from like your viewpoint for any future endeavors you have, where if someone were maybe not affiliate yet, or if you were pushing for partner, you know, it's hard to know whether or not that would have a negative impact on your sort of like your permanent record. You know what I mean? Like in terms of whether they go back, and if Twitch, I mean, Twitch has really good metrics. For anyone who is listening or watching that doesn't stream themselves, Twitch has a really rich analytics tool that at a glance you can get a whole range of information, either stemming from the last stream you did all the way back to, you know, like a year's worth of statistics or more. And like if they've gone to that length to catalog and organize and collate all that information, there's no reason to think that they're also not like kind of maybe using those analytics to like earmark trends on pages, so like if you move to or if you apply for affiliate or if you apply for partner, like there's no way to know if that will be counted against you, and which is like terribly unfortunate, especially if you are the victim of someone who is just trying to like fuck you over for fun, you know, like or for a lull, or for, you know, whatever the intent was. They clearly like tried to mess with you, and that's also troubling because there's no way to know.
Yeah,
I'd like to think Twitch, that isn't what plays down. They obviously can see who's watched the channel and what's happened. Like I said with the ticket, if that ticket's just went under the radar, then that could be problematic if that is a thing. But then again, as well as that, their analytics obviously for partners over X amount of days.
Yeah.
To hold a certain average. So even with that the viewbot event, you'd still need to have a normal, consistent amount of viewership. Unless you got viewbotted every day, like for 30 days or whatever the actual analytic is. I guess that's kind of part of why they do that for that program. They apply for it.
I mean, I haven't personally seen anybody that I think has, or I've never heard of somebody that's viewbotted themselves up to partnership status. Maybe it has happened, I don't know, but I think Twitch's review system for getting to partnership seems pretty rigid and pretty solid. So I would doubt that it would happen. I think the appeal, if someone's viewbotting themselves, I think the appeal is that, well, they get higher up in the directory and they're maybe going to catch people that don't understand and don't know that are going to come in and be viewers of that channel. Because I mean, I've seen it as well where there's accounts that are almost brand new that have no followers. They've got like less than 1,000 views on their channel, but they're sitting with hundreds of viewers, and there is legitimate people in there that just don't know. Particularly during the whole Fortnite explosion, right? There was quite a lot of that happening. It's difficult because, again, as we said, you know, it's hard to tell if someone's doing it to themselves or it's being done to them. There has been people that I've watched a few days and kind of thought, this is weird, and then I've been told later, well, this person's been struggling with it, and as per what Twitch advised, they're just trying to ignore it and just move on and carry on with their stream. It's a really, really difficult situation, and like you say, it does mess up your own sort of analytics for it, because I know that month I got follow botted. When I'm trying to look at my stats, I'm like, well, great, we hit this milestone of followers, but we didn't really, and I don't know the exact number of bots that hit me, so I don't even know where to judge. And it does spoil it, because when you come up to that milestone, you just feel like you can't really celebrate that properly, because there's some element of false numbers there. Now for me, it's been months, I think, since that happened, and they're still sitting on my account. I'm checking every day, waiting to see the day I drop 100 odd followers when they remove them, but it's still not happened yet. And again, I've submitted a ticket. I don't think there's much else I can do, but it is very frustrating. So to a very small extent, I can feel your pain on that. Has anyone else ever had any experience with anything like this happening?
I haven't, but I've seen it happen to you, Condi. Like I've seen when like you've been flooded with some stuff before. I don't know. I feel like I'd be pretty. I feel like I would feel like how Pijinnn did when it happened, where it's like, as you said, the Twitch tells you just power through it. Don't acknowledge it. Don't feed into it. But then at the same time, like it's kind of like this emotional vandalism, right? Like because in the moment your stress and anxiety is going to spike, because then you're worried about the regular, like your super hardcore regular viewers, you're not probably worried about, because you're like, well, they understand what's happening, they've been here long enough that I'm not worried about that. But then you're worried about anyone who is less acquainted with your channel, or anyone who is infrequent, that is now like getting annoyed by all the shit that's happening in chat. And then you're like, well, fuck, I mean, now that's another thing in the back of your head. You're also thinking about like how that's going to affect your stats. And at the end of the day, it kind of, like you said, you can't look back on certain milestones with pride, because it feels tainted. And that's that's a terrible concept. I haven't had it happen, but I think I would definitely be shook, and I would probably also end my stream in frustration, and then just be like, I don't know what to do.
I had it a long time ago now, where there was somebody that kind of showed up in my community and was in my stream a little bit, and this guy was 100% viewbotting himself when on his streams. There was a couple of times I thought, oh, okay, I'll check this guy, because I met him through Twitch, and I could see a mile away that he was viewbotting himself. And one day he hosted me with, I think it was over 100 viewers in this host, and immediately I was like, oh my god, I know what's happening, and they all flooded in, and it took 5 minutes, but then we got all the chat bots as well, like Pijinnn was saying, where they're just saying random stuff, just completely out of context things that are just popping up in the chat, and it's obviously meant to look like, it's meant to try and hide away from the fact that you're viewbotting because there's a chat going, but obviously when you're sitting with maybe 10, 20 viewers, and all of a sudden you've got just chat that's just non-stop with just random stuff, it's very, very obvious. So in that situation, we started banning them, and then just gave up and turned the stream off, because there was nothing else to do. I've seen larger streamers be hit with viewbot attacks that have just literally stopped the stream and restarted it to try and kick them out, but it's difficult. If someone wants to maliciously attack you with that, it's hard to keep going. But I mean, what would you advise, Pidge, moving forward, if anyone else had a similar thing? If it happened to you again, what would be your first move?
Definitely. Well, this is kind of like a no-brainer, but make sure you've got your mods that know as well what to do with it. Switching to follower only mode calls the follower bots, even if it's brief. And I'm still going to recommend Commander Root, but just be freaking careful with the filters on it. It's an amazing tool, honestly. When it happened last time, I used it like that, deleted all 50 bot followers. Submit a ticket to Twitch, so you know your integrity's there. And honestly, this kind of, again, this goes full circle, but make sure your communities are on your sort of like your Discord, your Twitter, and whatnot, just so they, if you in the event you do something like as stupid as I did, you can get everybody back on board and kind of rally the cause, if you will.
Mm.
Because I don't know what would have happened if that didn't, if I didn't have everybody already in my Discord or my Twitter, because the help was obviously phenomenal.
Yeah.
You guys helped out as well, obviously, so thanks again for that.
Yeah, having that network of people to share around and stuff. I mean, like when my Twitter got banned, the first thing I did was message Java and be like, "Can you please tell people my Twitter's banned?" Because like I started getting DMs on Discord being like, "Oh, I see you blocked me on Twitter. Like, what did I do to you?" And I was like, "No, it got banned. I didn't
I
block you."
remember being super pissed at you because I was like, "What did I do? Did I say something?"
Yeah, right. Like
What happened?
I was really worried because I was like, people think I've blocked them. So I was like, Java, you need to tweet out and tell people. So yeah, having that definitely is good. And I have to say, it was super wholesome to see the support coming back in for you. So again, guys, if you haven't already, or maybe you have and it kicked you out, make sure to go and refollow Pijinnn. The link is in the chat there. Cool. Do we have anything else to kind of talk about in terms of viewbots and chatbots, anything like that?
I did kind of have. Oh, sorry. I'd want to drop in the only other experience I've had with like bot accounts, and this kind of goes out to people who are growing their streams again, was through competitions hosted on things like Gleam. I don't know if you guys have used it before.
I'm familiar with it.
Gleam. Yeah. Gleam is like a bot central. Because I did a milestone competition and I used Gleam for it, and then I watched as that follower count or that milestone at the time like almost doubled, and I'm like, nah. I wouldn't recommend those style competitions because they just attract bots. They see 20 quid Amazon gift card, they see that thing, they're just in and botting you for a follower. Not as maliciously as the mass attacks, but it can generate a lot of unrealistic traffic as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, Twitch doesn't have anything that can stop against like a malicious attack like that. Like you said, Pidge, you can obviously switch it into follower mode. If they follow, you're still gonna get the chat bots spamming the crap out of your chat. I think it would be good to try and explore what we could actually suggest doing in the future, because obviously you wouldn't be able to pull up Commander Root on the fly while you're streaming and try and delete those bots so they can't actually attack. I don't think there's any tool out there that could actually stop that. The only thing that could is your reaction to it. I would probably feel the same way as Pigeon and what Grog actually suggested. Like, I would feel like shit. You know, I would want to end stream and I would want to try and deal with it. But what if you try to approach it slightly differently and kept going? You know, obviously, you said your core community knew what was happening and your mods were already briefed on it because it like had already happened to you. It would be difficult to try and soldier on, but do you think the outcome would have been different if you did?
Honestly, I don't even know. That's the thing. Because I did try to like stand my ground with it, but it just spiraled still. And I would love to have stood my ground throughout the whole thing. And I really don't know how if it was a person behind it, if they would have saw me and go, this isn't working, we're away. You know, like I'm guessing that's what Twitches want you to do. This guy doesn't give a rat's about it, so we're just going to move on, and that would be that. So yeah, definitely try not to show that you're giving into it, because there's a strong chance, and I've said this now, but there's a strong chance if it is someone directly who targets my channel and away doing whatever other people's channels, which sucks. There's a chance they're going to come back and do it again because they saw it got to me. So,
but at the same time, like
the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If it is one person that's targeted you, why are they doing it? Maybe they're jealous of the success you're having on your channel, right? You know, the fact that right. And also, despite everything, they probably saw the recovery that you had from it, right? I mean, you really came back strong from that incident, so that shows how quickly you bounce back. I think it's a learning experience, and in this case, yes, it hurt you at first, but the recovery was kind of really, really good and quick, and brought back in a lot of attention to you, which, I mean, you could even say has helped you in a way, because the just the outpouring of support was wonderful to see, and I would like to think that would put people off from doing it again, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand now with it as well, man. Like,
Yeah, you learn from it.
My community that night, we literally just had a pure standoff. Like, we had the bot emote going, just like screw those guys, and it became an event. So definitely would like to think that that person won't do it again on the grounds that the community and everyone around that instant like saved it and stuck the middle finger up, basically.
Yeah, but you know, again, you've taken that knowledge from it, you've learned from it, and you know, it's the fact that you can be here and talk about it and hopefully give everyone else some tips on it is a good thing. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we move on with it. Do we want to jump on to the next topic? Because I guess it's kind of linked, kind of related.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So the next topic I want to get into is streamer communities, and kind of all the different versions of that, what that means, what that entails, and what's a good one, what's a not so good one, things like that, right? So, I mean, first of all, does someone want to jump in and explain what a stream team is, first of all?
I'm not a part of one. I have no idea.
Team that streams.
I don't know that I'm qualified.
Okay.
Gandhi?
I'll run through it, right? So a stream team is I would say it's almost kind of similar to like your auto host on Twitch, right? If you know what an auto host is, you can set up your channel to be automatically hosting other people that you recommend while you're off stream, right? So you can do that in a few ways. You can set it up just with, you know, random. You can set it up with priority order of who you want to host, or if you're part of a team, you can set it up to host people from that team. So a stream team is something that can be created when you reach the level of partnership on Twitch, and you can invite other people into your stream team. It gets displayed underneath your title when you're live, and people can click on that stream team and see other members that are in that team as well, right? So it's kind of like it's almost like a community that you can then, you know, create, and the ideas that you would help each other grow and things like that. Now, in my opinion, there's good stream teams, there's bad stream teams. I've been a part of a couple. You know, there's some that are there for reasons. So I have seen some where a partner creates a stream team, invites a lot of people in, and it really only benefits that person at the top, right? That partner at the top, because they're inviting people into the stream team a little bit, right? And I'm not like, you know, I have nobody particularly in mind when I'm talking about this. I've seen a lot of stuff over the years with this where, you know, they'll invite people in, and when you're part of that stream team, maybe you're more inclined to support that top streamer, and it just kind of builds like that. There's other stream teams that are fantastic where maybe all the people in there are actively, you know, making content together and helping each other grow and hosting and raiding and supporting each other to build everyone up. Because I think that is ideally the idea of a stream team, is to show that you are part of this group and you are working together to all grow your channels. But outside of official stream teams, which is, you know, obviously all built in through Twitch, there is a lot of streamer communities. In my experience, they often take part through Discord, where they'll have a lot of members, and yeah, basically the idea is to get a lot of people into one space to watch each other and grow. So is anyone familiar with Royale streamers and what happened with them?
Is that the whole lurking like pyramid scheme system? Like you got points based on how many minutes that you lurked and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it was a lurk for lurk community. So I had a Discord with thousands and thousands of members, right? And they would bring people in because they would say, hey, you know, you want to grow your stream, come and join this Discord with all these other thousands of streamers, which maybe as a small streamer, that is like a
huge incentive.
Yeah, right? Because there's a lot of different people in there. Now, I'm mentioning Royale streamers because they're the kind of the big one I think a lot of people have heard of. But there is a lot like this. And the idea, certainly in the Royale streamers one, was that, you know, everyone's on the right hand side of Discord, and you can see who's live and who's not live and things like that. And I believe the way it worked for Royale streamers was the more you lurked in other people's channels, the more points you got with a bot in the Discord, which then bumped you higher up on the list, and in return you would end up with more and more viewers.
Yeah.
So this is essentially the same thing as a viewbot, but there isn't actually any bots, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a very similar system. Rather than it
Yes.
being bots, it's just real people.
Mm-hmm. But you're
I do find it
incentivizing people to
interesting
lurk.
That even if you haven't heard of the Royale streamers, if you stream on Twitch, you are directly affected by that event, because obviously they changed the system on lurkers
Mm-hmm.
on Twitch, where if you either have it, correct me if I'm wrong, if you either have it muted or minimized or both, it doesn't actually count as a viewer.
I believe that's the case, yeah. I haven't
So-
tested
Yep.
it specifically, but yeah.
So that event directly affected all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And
to think
that is why I think Twitch changed the situation with lurkers, because a lot of people were gaining a lot of viewership through legitimate people that were in their stream, but you know, there was people that probably had 10, 20 tabs open that were just trying to farm points for their own stream, and it was
Yeah.
all a very kind of gross lurk for lurk situation. Now, I have nothing against lurkers, right? That is a key thing. Lurkers are a huge part of Twitch. I say it all the time. When I'm watching a stream, 99% of the time, I'm lurking because I'm maybe editing a video, or I'm playing a game, or I'm literally sitting on my couch with the stream up on the TV, and I'm not at my keyboard typing in chat, right? A lot of the time I'm going to be lurking, and I think lurkers are amazing. But people found a way to game the system and abuse the system to gain huge amounts of viewership. And yeah, because of this, Twitch ended up changing the way that works with the lurkers and things like that. So I guess I'm just looking for people to kind of give us an idea of what makes a good community, and how would you kind of recognize maybe a bad community to be getting involved with Twitch. Have any of you been involved in any kind of streamer communities, good or bad? Anything like that?
On Mixer, yes. There was like a semi-famous like esports team, and they had like a progression system where you could basically be like an affiliate with them, and then eventually, if you either gained enough followers, gained enough viewers, gained enough subs, you would work your way into that stream team. It was called Flashpoint. The pretty big in like the indie games kind of scene. You've probably seen the t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And that was a good system because it was people genuinely supporting other people. You know, it wasn't like I'm gonna like in your channel because it's gonna bump me up the system. It was more along the lines of, you're supporting me, I want to return the favor genuinely and then support you. I feel that's a good basis for like a good stream team. You know, not for it to be expected, more of it to be an enjoyment to support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when I'm like gaming with people, most of the time I've got their stream open in another tab, and I'm watching it because like I want to support that person, but also it's quite nice to be able to just jump over to their chat and see something. Or maybe if, you know, I die in a game and I want to get their point of view on something, I can just pull up their stream and just watch that, you know. So I will always try and do that as much as possible, but I'm not going to have 17 tabs open, you know, with lurks and things like that. I feel like these situations get difficult when like large amount of numbers get involved anyway.
Yeah. Like first one I was involved with on here, that's actually where I met you, Condi.
Yeah.
It was like I met someone on Twitch. It was the first streamer I was watching after Tim. And then got involved in that, and then found a lot of really great people through it. It kind of got a little more inflated, and as more people joined in, there was a lot less you couldn't like sit in Discord into the general and try and chat with people, because it's just you go away for an hour and then there's 800 more messages. It's like, I'm not trying to keep up with this. So it's hard to, if it's smaller and you can get this sort of sense of community from it, I feel like it's a lot more beneficial because you can actually connect with people. But after it gets to a certain point, it's hard to get any real value from it.
True. And I feel like a lot of people that do jump into these things are very much just there for follow sort of stuff. I try and like just sort of do my research on these things a little bit. This past week, I had a recommendation for a Facebook group for Twitch people, and it was like I don't post on Facebook. I literally will just scroll through it every so often. And it popped up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump in here. There's not that many people. Maybe this will be some like good conversations about Twitch. Maybe something like that. That just something to make my newsfeed a bit more interesting, right? So I jumped in, and it is just follow for follow everywhere. Even though the rules say no follow for follow, you know, someone will post the most generic, I'm going live, here's my Twitch username, and the comments are like, hey, I gave you a follow, you should follow me back. People can't help themselves, because I think when you first get started on Twitch, that just seems like such common sense. Sort of like self-promotion, right? I can understand when someone's brand new, I want people to watch my stream. Where can I find an amount of people who like watching streams? Other streams, right? Like, I can understand the logic, but you're always going to have that people that just want to come in and follow for follow, and just because that follower number is just so damn important, right? Like, it's always kind of gross, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fundamentally flawed at its core, because at the end of the day, the desire for both parties is different, right? It's not a relationship built on, I'm going to stream stuff, and an organic follower, someone who is a fan of the channel or a fan of what you're doing, is there because they enjoy your company, they want to be supportive. Maybe you play games with them, maybe you give them a space where they can speak freely and comfortably, about like their experience with the games that you're playing. You've maybe found a bunch of people that like have a like mindset, and they feel welcome in that space. And versus someone who fundamentally, if they're chasing this for self promotion, they're not there for that, because at the end of the day, their prime goal and their desire is to grow their own stream. That's why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a disparity in terms of expectation. You can't have multiple content creators, quote unquote, being supportive of one another when their ultimate goal is really just to support themselves. It needs to be a mutual respect and a real desire to bond with other people. Now, I wasn't sure how serious I should say this. I was gonna very seriously joke that Condi bullied me into joining Zero Strategy with threats of viewbotting. That's not true, but um, it's like, I was asked this question recently by a friend and a viewer about Zero Strategy, and how, some of us have like this little banner on our stream page saying, Zero Strategy Gaming Family. And what does that mean? What are we doing? Where is it going? I mean, right now, like, I didn't have all the answers for them, but they asked really good questions, and it just kind of got me thinking. Like, I think it means different things to different people. Like, for me, I love the fact that I can spend, a set day with friends every week, and bring in like really cool guests, and we can talk about things that we're really passionate about as we're doing this, either as a career or as a hobby or as something. And it's fantastic. And right now for me, it is this like think tank of buddies, and we're all kind of like in this thing together, and we're just trying to see where it can grow. And it's sort of like still bubbling and brewing and evolving. But I think, in respect to some of these communities, in terms of stream teams, or like pseudo clans, or like, some of it, there's not really answers for why it exists or how it should or shouldn't be run, because it's still the Wild West. Like, Twitch and Mixer and Facebook Gaming and YouTube Live, like, all of these things are still being explored in real time. Like, there isn't a firm precedent yet for what these things mean if you were to try to define them in a dictionary. So, like, if you were to Google what's the stream team, you would probably get, or if you were to do a survey, you'd get like 50 different responses as to what it is. Some of them would be the same, but there might even be wholly different interpretations of what that means. Is it a platform to rally together with other content creators, so that then you can, like, maybe approach sponsors, more assuredly, and say, like, hey, I'm part of this larger network. If you are interested in working with me as a sponsor, like, I have connections with other content creators. I can assure you that, like, that as a co-sponsor, like I'll be able to promote your material to a broader range of people, and then you leverage that network as a means, to improve your brand or improve your relationship with another brand. That might be what a team is to somebody. For others, it might just be like casual. I think it's complicated because it is so broad and still evolving. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Um,
that's. Sorry, go ahead, Pidge.
Oh, sorry. I totally agree with Grog here. Like, this is stuff that I feel I've learned in the past little while about growing your communities. But your communities are going to be a composition of legitimate, just straight up Twitch viewers who love watching streams and hanging out and getting involved in chat and whatnot. And then there's that other section which is fellow streamers. And the fellow streamers are the ones who are, like Grog said, they've got their own set of agendas to grow their own channels. So, like, growing together is one thing, but at the end of the day, each individuals are going to be growing their own sort of thing, like as they go. And in terms of like communities and Twitch teams, if the individuals in there aren't reaching out to other streamers and growing, then it just causes a terrible sort of circle jerk where
Mhm.
it's all just happening inside that one community. So I've been part of communities like Discord groups, you name it, where it's all just the people are in there and there's not really much getting like networking or pulling people in. So which I think is just terrible, it's like I can think of an example of one that like helped me out at one point in time. They raided the channel and stuff and got involved. Nobody was talking. All the people were gone. I was just like, okay, well that was nice that they thought that, but there was no mutual growth in mind. The people had done their bit and they'd went away. So I think to me that's a sign of a bad sort of Twitch team and community. The fundamentals are wrong. There's no like they're not pushing you out. They're not going, by the way, go talk to a million other people and grow your channel and then come back and then we're all sharing it. I think that's where the mutual growth is. Like from a sort of business side of things. But and again, going back to what Grog said, it is like a business. You are building your own network,
Yep.
and you can't expect streamers to always be there for that. It's about the viewers at the end of the day, viewers versus the streamers. But obviously, streamers are always checking out the streams. I'm digging myself a hole here. I feel, but
No,
I hope I've got the point across. Like, there's mutual growth, but then there's networking and finding the right people who let you do that out with these groups. That's kind of what I'm saying.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I used to see a trend of I cannot remember the name of the community now, but what they would do is they would gather in their Discord and they'd pick a streamer, they'd post the link, and they'd get a bunch of people to show up, and they would spam like raid, and it wasn't an official like raid through Twitch. It was just they would all show up in the stream, and there would be a bunch of follows, a bunch of chat, and then after 5 minutes they'd move to the next one, and it's like, why? What's the point? Yes, maybe that streamer's getting a few extra followers, but they're just going to move on to the next person. And the whole point of it was to get more people. Oh, who's this community that raided me? I'll join them, and then they build their numbers that way, and it's artificial. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the bad side of these big communities and things like that. I still think that communities like this are a huge part of Twitch. Twitch is one big community, and it is obviously out with our own individual communities that we create in our channels. The communities can be a big thing and can be very, very helpful on Twitch. And I think there's good ways to approach them, which is, and I've got a couple of examples. So again, the community that Kibbles mentioned earlier that I was part of and he was part of, that's how we met originally, right? It started off fairly small. I became a part of it because there's friends of mine that streamed that were running this thing, and it looked like a really nice, good way of maybe helping smaller streamers to get on their feet and get started and to meet other like-minded people. And it did grow to thousands and thousands to the point where I couldn't keep up with it anymore. But out of that, there was 3 or 4 people that I met, that I gamed with regularly, that I would watch their streams. And I mean, again, that's how me and Kibbles met, and we still play games together now. I think that's the way to do it. If you're joining like a big community like that and you really do want to make that a tool for getting to know some people, approach it with the mindset of, I'm not going in there to just spam my link at everybody. I want to maybe find people, because, you know, if you're brand new to Twitch, one of the hard things can be finding other people to play with. You know, finding other, like, collabs, if you want to call it that, right? You can go through Twitch, find other people playing the same game with similar viewership. That might work. But joining a Discord like that, you might be able to find, you know, who has the same role, the Destiny role, who's a Destiny player that I could get in and do some raids with and make some friends. I think that's a good way to do it, and to meet a few people and build it from there. I mean, I've said it before, but Zero Strategy started out very small. I think it was literally just me and that guy called originally. Or was Cyber, were you in right at the beginning? So there was 2 or 3 of us, and it started out because I wanted to like, okay, sit down, and from like a very organized point of view, I wanted to make a business plan month by month of what I wanted to achieve with my stream. And I call it a business plan. It wasn't really a business plan, but it was more like a plan of action for the next 12 months. And it was things like, this month I'm going to watch tons of YouTube content, and I'm going to take notes on what's good, what's bad, how can I implement this. Next month I'm going to watch like talk shows and see how the talk show hosts are interact and all this stuff, right? That was the plan. And I thought, this will be better if I get someone else involved. And then we got a couple other people involved, and then we thought, well, like, let's just have this conversation live on a podcast. And you know, it kind of grew from there as a way to just bounce ideas off each other, talk to, you know, the community, and maybe give help and advice. I don't ever want to be a huge community that's out there doing Zero Strategy, you know, lurks and all this stuff. Like, I'm not really into that. But it started out as the small thing, and it ended up having, you know, a bunch of people that I can quite happily go and say, you should go and follow this person, we're going to raid this person. And it's all, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I know think the content that is going to be happening from everyone in the group, you know?
I think for me, what I find really rewarding about doing this project, specifically the podcast, and just, you know, and the videos that we've been cutting recently and the stuff that we're doing together, is I have never gotten the impression from any of those people involved that any of us are doing it for any ulterior motive. Everyone, like, I love spending time with y'all, and I think that everybody is very clearly passionate about, you know, the things that move us, that shake us, the things that, you know, get us to stream, the things that get us to hang out with each other, and the things that we want to talk about with other people. And all of that's coming from the heart, and that really, for me, at the core, is what's most important for me. Like, it's that authenticity, and the fact that I know I can dip into any of the streams, any of the guests that we've had on, any of the you know, the co-panelists, any of my colleagues here in the group. Like, I can knowingly send, and I think, as Condi was getting at, I can send anybody to any other of these channels and know that, like, I 100% support and admire what they're doing. I'm on board with it. I think with some of these other teams, because there's this strong pursuit of growth, it gets really unruly very quickly, where you maybe have a figurehead, you know, maybe you have a person who starts a Discord for this kind of thing, and they do it with altruistic reasons. And then before you know it, if it's an open invitation and it's an open buffet for people to just, like, go find other people, like, all of a sudden it's just like, there's this, you know, like, it's, think of it this way. If you were to say, if you had a moderately sized following and you had an active chat up until that point, let's say you had 50 viewers, and you said, all right, chat, who should I go raid? That's a loaded question, right? Because obviously some people are going to respond and be like, oh, you know what? This person, they're so like you, they're so like this channel, they're so on point for this community, you should go raid this person. But guaranteed, out of that group, and the percentages obviously would vary, and there's no way to know what the intent is, but you know that some of those people in there would say, oh shit, you know, my friend just started out streaming, I'm going to recommend their channel. It may have nothing to do with the community, it may have nothing to do with the game content, it may have nothing to do with anything at all. They might, with the best of intentions, want to hype somebody because they think it's the right thing to do, it's the kind thing to do. But, like, I mean, they're going to do it because of personal reasons. I know that person, that's my friend. So if you ask a random chat, like, who should I go raid, you're going to get all these suggestions, and some of them might have taken the time to consider like how it dovetails with your community, and others might just be like, yo, you should go raid this guy because they're trying to hit affiliate, and maybe they have a garbage stream, maybe they don't, I don't know, like it's no way to know, but like it's one of those things where when it gets big enough, or you just let the floodgate loose and just open it up to anybody to just like kind of jump in and like throw something in there, someone will eventually try to utilize that as a means to promote themselves or promote someone else in a way that is maybe not copacetic, that is maybe not altruistic and with good intentions. It's maybe just pure promotion and promotion alone. And it's not because they're trying to network or form bonds or, you know, um, have like a greater connection with that other bit of content.
Yeah,
It's a very good way of putting it.
I think what it comes down to is that no matter
Getting
how
people for my cult.
I think no matter how big or small a channel is and how active or not active a chat is, streaming can be a very lonely thing because you're not getting that physical interaction or often even just you're talking to a chat, right? Which is amazing, but it can sometimes be a lonely thing, and it is, in my opinion, so much better when you get to do it with other people, right? I almost never stream solo now. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's really nice. But sometimes, most of the time, I want to have other people there with me. And whether that's viewers, a lot of the time I think for streamers it's easier to play with other streamers because we understand each other. I know I can stream with any of these guys, and we know the sort of ebb and flow of when we can talk to each other and communicate as a team. When do we stop and talk to chats? What jokes are appropriate, and how do we bounce off each other to make content, right? A lot of that stuff is a lot easier with other streamers, but you know, for me it's like I can wake up and be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna play some Warzone with Cyber today, you know, like, and I look forward to it. Every Sunday I can be like, I get to sit and have a chat with these guys and my friends, and hopefully at the same time we're making content that's interesting to watch, and we're maybe helping somebody that's got questions about trying to grow a stream or getting new to it, right? But for me it's just I can have a good time with friends, and that to me is if you can get a community where there's just a few people and you can make those friends and those connections, it's great. And you know, I think my content's better for having these gentlemen as part of it, you know. Having, you know, playing with Pijinnn, it's like there's so many memes now about Pijinnn just stomping around in Valorant, and he doesn't give a shit about stealth walking, you know. He just walks as loud as he wants, and it's like the content, in my opinion, is improved if you've got the right people to play with. So that's what communities should be there for, to find other people that you gel well with. Gel well?
Gel well.
It sounds
Gel
weird, but I think it's
Gel
right.
well, gentlemen.
Gel with.
Yeah, find people that you gel with, that you can make good content with, and just grow together. Because, you know, it's when you've got a community, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than having those people that are part of your community and then seeing them in your friends chat. And being able to go into someone else's chat. Like I can pop into Grog's chat and I'll know a few people in there. I can pop into Kibbles or Cybers or Pijinn's, anyone's, and I kind of know people there. And I hope it's the same when you guys come into my chat. You know people and recognize people in there as well. And that is the point of it, right? So don't be fooled into these big communities with thousands of people that just want you to lurk and support the person at the top of the pyramid, right? It seems like the good thing to do, and if you do it right, you can succeed with it, but don't be tricked into just lurking in these huge streamers chats that don't care and don't want to, you know, make that connection with you. Does that make sense?
I think we've obviously touched on the two different sides. You've either got the ones that purely think of it as a business model, and if you lurk in my chat, obviously you'll get points, you'll get bumped up the system, we'll help you, follow for follow, all that kind of stuff. But one of the key points I think you touched on, Condi, was taking the viewers completely out, and almost, this is going to sound really selfish and I don't mean it to be that way, but
Okay.
you use them on an emotional level, because it doesn't make your content better, but it makes you happier. You know, your mood changes when you play with people because you are becoming genuine friends, and the laughter, the inside jokes, all those kind of stuff, it helps you in a totally different way. And that's one of the reasons why I like playing with you guys, because I know for a fact when we are playing, we're gonna laugh all the time. You know, we're gonna gel well, and it almost bumps your content up because people see that you're being genuine, you're being happy, you know, you're making those genuine connections. And I feel like if you're gonna go for the two different communities, one where you're gonna get a lot of follows and you're gonna get no benefit out of it, or you're gonna make those genuine connections and you're actually gonna enjoy streaming, I feel like that's the one that you need to pick.
Yeah.
I can say that totally, Cyber. Like on Friday, we gamed pretty much all day. Valorant, Destiny. Obviously, it was a mix of teams and stuff, but there wasn't a minute went by I wasn't sitting laughing or whatever. And do you know what? See if I went to the toxic side and said, "Oh, but they guys only have X amount of viewers on their channels. I'm not going to play with them." That would just be terrible.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't matter. That's what they were doing. So obviously,
That's it.
the whole day just flew by. I had a laugh, and that's the kind of communities you want to get in. People that just play together for fun. They're not negative. Obviously, you have your moments in games as individuals, like, oh, that guy won up to me or whatever. But ultimately, if the communities are all gaming together and he's all get a different chance to like mix teams up, then that's where it's at. That's where I've found my calling.
Yeah.
Especially since jumping to PC.
If it seems too good to be true, and it seems like a quick way to kind of just game the system and get there, it probably is too good to be true. If you're not having fun and you're not having a good time, chances are people watching your stream are not going to be having fun and having a good time. So that's the thing to focus on. And like I say, I'm not saying communities are bad and you shouldn't join one. You know, go in, try them out, but just be very wary of it, I think, because people will fall into that trap of you know, thinking that that's how to get somewhere, when really, you know, you focus on your content, you focus on what you're doing, and it will happen. Unless we got anything else on that, there's a couple questions in chat we can go through if everyone's cool with that. Yeah. So Dennis here asked our opinion on raids, right? So I guess just Twitch raids, raiding channels when you're done. Anyone got any thoughts on that?
I have done it every single stream that I've had.
Yeah.
So it's usually at some days it's like the same 3 people because no one else is streaming at that time. But it's a good way to make a connection with people and support them. It's you know, you don't really get anything out of getting rated. There's a very, very low chance that people are gonna stick around long term. It can happen sometimes. It's happened before, but really it's more of a thing like connecting with someone.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I think on the flip side of that, obviously when you raid somebody, it does host them on your channel. I find it a good way of saying this is somebody who I enjoy their content and I'm willing to put them on my own homepage, you know, showing the support that way. Because like Kibble said, not a lot of people stick around for raids, whether it be they don't want to spend the time enough to get to know the new streamer and then follow, or you know, they only came there specifically to see you. But I find
and like,
that
oh, I've got stuff to do now. I gotta go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, the kind of secondary act on that is, well, I'm gonna display you on my homepage until you go offline. You know, it's almost like a commitment to them saying, you know, obviously my viewers didn't come, but I'm gonna keep you there because I do support you. You know, it's kind of like a double-edged kind of.
And it could bump them up on the directory depending on how many viewers you give them, and that could help substantially. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice kind of thing to do.
I mean, I hit affiliate. I you know, I won't make a big thing of it, but I hit affiliate very specifically because of some raids from other channels. It's the last thing that pushed me over the top, because I think people then like came through and they stayed after the raid, stuck around and watched. There's no better feeling to me than getting a raid, but not necessarily getting the raid, but it's looking at the stream or the numbers like an hour later and seeing that the people are all still there. They stuck around. You retain them. You're something's right. You know, something's clicking, something's working, and that's exciting. That's really it feels really good, especially if the person who rated you is someone you know, because it just feels like, yes, yes, it's like one more thing we have in common. Like we can bond our communities together, and it makes you it makes you appreciative of their supporting you. It makes, that feeling that, like Cyber's referring to, and it makes you proud. One thing I try to do when I raid people is I always, on occasion, I will raid unknowns, but think I've spent enough time on the platform now to have a a, a, a significant stable of people, and I've done enough exploring while I'm not streaming, just as a viewer, to find and follow people, that I don't try to go with unknowns when I raid. And that is probably that's another topic on its own, I'm sure. But for me, I personally like to try to raid people that I think would be complimentary, um, for the viewers. So like if I'm streaming Warzone, sometimes I'll pull a 180 and send people to an Animal Crossing channel. It's happened, but usually when I do that, like there's a channel that I've rated on the reg, uh, Atomic Twins. I love the fuck out of them. They're so good. They're twin sisters. They've got this whole thing going on. They're variety streamers, but their chemistry and their humor, it's for me, is like so on brand for what I like, for what I appreciate, and for what I associate myself with. That when I take people to their stream, I'm like, this is an extension of me. This is an extension of my interests and what I'm into. I like, they don't know me. They're not friends with me. I think they do high quality content, and I'll do that for other streamers. So it's like, sometimes I know people are pushing for partner. I'll go raid them because, like, listen, I know this person does good work. They bust their hump. They're working really hard, and I want you to support them because I believe in them. And then other times I'll just go raid somebody because I'm like, this person's like just a fucking blast, and like, you should check them out because, like, this is what I'm about. And if you want to get to know me more, this is one way to do it. So that's how I've kind of looked at rating now. But because sometimes I have made mistakes in the past where I've gone and rated someone who I didn't know terribly well, and it didn't come off right.
Yeah.
Like, I rated someone where my community followed them over, and then that person who I had maybe watched 3 or 4 streams of and seemed kind of all right made a really off color remark, and like a very tasteless joke. And then I was directly contacted by somebody who was part of that raid, was like, yeah, I immediately dropped that. That made me feel uncomfortable. Like, I didn't like that. And I didn't know. Like, I had no idea, because my exposure to that point, like, I felt like, oh, well, I mean, I've seen them a little bit and they seem cool. But obviously I didn't know them well enough. And I felt like I made a grave mistake, because then I felt like I had unintentionally harmed people in my community, by what felt like just a simple gesture, is like, I'm gonna go show this person some love. They're only streaming with like 3 viewers, and it turned out badly. So now that's kind of colored how I tackle it. But yeah,
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
that happen a couple
Yep.
times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
raid events are a mixed bag. Like, that's what I was thinking, Grog, when you were going there. But like, you got to be really careful who you do raid, and if you are raided by channels, like, I don't know what the specific side of it was, but I found if I've been raided, the viewing host is amazing because it does push you up on the directory. You might appear more people's recommended because of who they follow, especially if you're live and you've had a couple of raids. As far as like doing raids, again, it's an expression of you going, here, if you've enjoyed my stuff, come watch this for a bit. This is someone who I watch and learn from, and either that or game with. So yeah, you've just got to be careful. But I don't think overall raids are a bad thing at all for Twitch. That is literally a big
Yeah.
one for sharing communities amongst people, streamers and viewers.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's again, I completely echo what you guys are saying with, to some extent, do your research. If you're raiding, make sure it's somebody that you're comfortable representing, because as soon as you raid and host that person, you are linked to them, right? They are displayed on your stream, and anybody who maybe is just going, okay, www.twitch.tv/thecyberproject, bam, that's on their screen, right? So you want to make sure it's somebody that you feel comfortable with and represents, you know, a wide example, right? If you're a family friendly streamer that doesn't swear, don't host me because I'm gonna swear a lot, right? Like
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, right? Just little things. I mean, that's obviously like a one example, but it could be a lot more extreme than that. You know, make sure it's somebody that maybe has similar values to you, a similar community. And again, you know, I'm in the very lucky position where I've met enough people and I have enough friends that are all, you know, there's always somebody on that I know that I can go and show support to and raid. And at the same time, there's in my experience, you know, maybe you've got a super hype stream and you're ending on a high and you're saying, let's go and really blow up this chat, and you raid and it's amazing and there's just emotes flying and there's follows coming in and there's a lot of love, right? Great. Absolutely fantastic. But there's other times where maybe my chat's very quiet towards the end of a stream and there's people just lurking in there. You should still be raiding, in my opinion, because the people are there will be people still watching. They just aren't typing in chat that you can maybe, you know, show to a friend or you know, be able to represent. It's one of the reasons I want to do this podcast, right? Because again, you know, I have these awesome people that I get to play games with, and I want people that like me to like them as well, because, you know, in my opinion, we all have similar, you know, ideals and the way we do things, and being able to bring people on here and show, like, these are my friends, they're pretty fucking cool, you should check them out as well. That's the same thing with raids. And you know, the way I think of it is, even if I see people that are maybe streaming and when they end the stream they just hit end stream, done, right? And then maybe those viewers go and disperse somewhere else. Maybe somebody that had the stream open that was lurking just sits there on offline stream for a while. But if you're raiding, if you've got 3 viewers and you're going to raid someone, raid somebody else that maybe has 3 viewers, because that's just doubled their viewership and that's going to make their goddamn day, right? I remember the first time someone raided me with 10, okay? And I was streaming and I got a raid in 10 viewers and I was like, this guy's legit. Holy crap, he's rated me for 10. I'm in double digits for viewers. That's insane, right? And you know, my day was totally made by that. And you might think, well, maybe I don't have enough viewers to go and raid, or, you know, nobody's really talking in my chat. I still think, if nothing else, you're gonna remember that name. That streamer might just think, well, I remember that person raided me now, I'm gonna go check them out. You know, maybe I keep them in mind to raid them in future and return the favor. And maybe that's how you make a connection with someone. Maybe you play games with them one day and it just all goes from there. It is about, you know, making these connections and making friends. There's no quick way, there's no easy way, but a raid could be a way to start things off. You know, it could be a way to meet someone and end up being able to make content with them. And again, you look at all these big streamers, right? A lot of the time, people like, you know, the Doc or Tim the Tatman or Lupo, a lot of the time they're playing with other content creators and other streamers, right? And they probably met them through some form of networking, through Twitch, or maybe it's a friend of a friend or whatever. But there's a reason that these streamers all play together, because it's just more fun and more exciting for even the communities as well, to be like, oh, I know this streamer and I know this streamer and now they're playing together. That's amazing, right? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I personally think you should be raiding almost every time when you're done streaming. Yeah. I know there was a quick question about music, song requests. We talked a little bit about it with in regards to copyright and stuff.
Previously on episode.
Exactly.
12
or 13
Yeah.
songs like that.
There was a 1 in front of it.
I don't know if we dived into song requests specifically, but you have to be careful for copyright and things like that. I know Twitch mutes the VODs, but you can still potentially be hit with things, so just be careful with it.
Even acapella stuff, Condi has been asked to just sing things like off the cuff, and he's been DCMA'd by the algorithm because it's so close to the original.
There's been a lot of huge creators lately that have been hit with like strikes on their account years of VODs like ago.
Yeah.
Like it is crazy. You see, ever since the whole automation system came out, it's so hard to get past it now.
Yeah.
I think any advice that we can give, if you don't use royalty-free music on your stream, there may potentially be repercussions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do your
For
homework
sure.
on that.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about, or do we want to maybe look at wrapping up here?
Rating?
Raid!
All right, perfect. Well, let's sign off. So, first of all, Cyber, where can everyone find you? What do you want to plug this week? What you got going on?
You can find me on all platforms, the Cyber Project, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. I do have a couple of YouTube videos hopefully coming out this week. I just need to finish them. I do believe some of the boys are playing some Warzone later as well. So if you want to see some shenanigans, hit us up.
Heck yeah. Grog, what about yourself?
I'm going to be doing Warzone later today. I can be found at just JUST _grog, GROG, on Twitch and YouTube. I am gamer_grog on Twitter. And yeah, I stream 4 or 5 days a week. Basically, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do long streams like 8 hours or so. Every other Saturday I've been doing streams with my wife. They've been really fun. We've been doing like couch co-op stuff. So like she's here in the room with me, and we just riff off of each other and have a lot of fun. And then, you know, obviously we've got podcasts on Sundays, and then I usually do a stream in the afternoon. So playing a lot of Warzone recently. I am really looking forward to dipping back into Destiny on Reset on Tuesday. And I'm also looking forward to when my life just goes to shit and Cyberpunk drops and I don't talk to anyone or
We'll miss you.
bathe
We'll miss you.
or do anything. But it'll be great. It'll be grand.
Awesome. Kibbles.
Yeah. So I now stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I cut back a little bit because some exciting stuff is happening in my life. So I had to cut some of those off. But I do Warzone those days. On Saturdays, I'm going to start streaming something else, probably going through more of the Walking Dead series like we did on Saturday.
It's really
Thursday
good.
nights, going to be doing a Netflix watch party. So I was doing that Amazon watch party before, but trying it out a couple times, I don't think it's really worth it because there's so few people that can get into it because they have to have an Amazon Prime. They have to be in America. So Netflix does this thing where up to 20 people can pile into the same one. So it's like all you need is a Netflix account. It's like, oh, cool. So did that on Thursday. It was pretty fun. So I think I'm going to start doing that every Thursday.
Does that work internationally?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So it's just a Google Chrome extension, and then we pile into a Discord call so we can be loud and obnoxious during it.
Sick.
And then I do this podcast on Sundays. I don't know. You can check it out, I guess.
All right. And Pijinnn, where can everyone find you?
Hey guys, thanks again for having me, of course. If you're not a robot, you can find me at twitch.tv /Pijinnn, Pijinnn. Make sure to check me out on Twitter as well. I literally don't stop tweeting all day. It's the same, but it's got an underscore at the end of it. And of course, you can catch me around with these guys making loud footstep noises in the corridors.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you again for coming back on. I do appreciate you jumping in and chatting with us, letting us know what happened, and kind of just sharing your knowledge on it. So I appreciate it. If you want to find me on twitch.tv /CondyFly. Twitter is CondyFly with an extra Y, and youtube.com /CondyFly. I'm going to be streaming tonight again as well, probably Warzone with these lads. I have a new video coming out tomorrow on my YouTube, so check that out. That's scary because it's the Cards Against Humanity videos, so hopefully I don't get cancelled, but we'll see. Yeah, more importantly, if you're listening on Spotify or you're watching on YouTube, come by the live streams. They're a lot of fun. Chat is super interactive and answering each other's questions and having good conversations when they're not bullying each of us individually. So definitely watch the live stream. If you're in the live stream and you want to catch up and you missed part of the stream or whatever, do make sure to check out the Spotify. Do make sure to follow us on Twitter because I want to start doing more things with the podcast Twitter. Link is in there. It is Zero Strategy Pod. And also check out our YouTube because we do other group content on that channel that's not podcast related, and it might give you a bit of a laugh. So keep an eye on that channel as well. We're going to go and raid somebody, so feel free to stick around for that. We'll just share the love with someone. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week. And just look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. Be safe. Much love, guys.